Many times when creating Civil 3D section views, each view will have its own grid. In this session, we'll learn how to display a single grid that multiple section views can share. On my screen is a printed example of some typical Civil 3D section views. Now, it's important to note that the styles I've applied to these objects are likely different than the styles that you're using. For that reason, these cross-sections may look different than the typical sections that you create, and that's okay. Our goal right now is to simply focus on the display of these grids. Currently, each section view has its own individual grid. Instead, I'd like to do something more like this, where I have a single grid that is shared by multiple section views. Let's look at how we can do that. On my screen, I have a drawing that represents a proposed road reconstruction project. Let's take a quick tour. If I zoom in, we can see that I have an existing ground surface called EG. My proposed road center line is called Route 72. That was used to create this corridor model called Route 72. I have also defined some sample lines that I can use to create section views. Let's do that now. I'm going to zoom out and we'll pan the drawing over. If we look at the lower right corner of the screen, we can see that this drawing is currently set to 1 inch equals 40 feet. I'd like these cross sections to be at a scale of 1 inch equals 10 feet, so I will select that from the menu. To create the section views, I'll come up to the Profile and Section Views panel, and I'll choose Create Multiple Views. I'd like to create these views using the Route 72 alignment and sample line group. I'll keep the default naming convention. Pay note to the section view style. This style controls the appearance of the section view grids and associated labels, much like a profile view style. I'm going to keep the default. I'll click Next. For section placement, I'll choose the Production option. This way they're arranged to fit nicely on the cross-section sheets. If I click these ellipsis buttons, I can select a template file from my network that contains layouts suitable for cross-sections. As you can see, this template includes a single layout, which should work perfectly. I'll click OK. Also, pay note to the group plot style. This style controls how the section views are arranged into columns and rows. Same as before, we'll keep the default. I'll choose Next. Offset range controls the width of the section views. I'm going to set this to -40 left and positive 40 right, which will create section views that are 80 feet wide. I'll choose Next. The elevation range controls the height of the section views. I'll leave this set to automatic so that the data controls the section view height. I'll click Next. Section display options controls what displays in each view. For the existing ground surface, I'm going to draw this using the default style. And then for the corridor, I'm going to draw this. And I'm going to change the code set style to another one I created, which is more suitable for plotting. I'll click OK. We'll come down to Next. And for the data bands, I'll keep the default style. While a data band will allow me to label surfaces, this particular data band has no surface labels. It's simply used to label the station and offsets of each section view. Let's come down and choose Create Section Views, and then I'll click on Screen. And if I zoom out and pan over, you can see how the section views are arranged nicely to fit on each cross-section sheet. Let's zoom in, and we can see that each section view has its own unique grid. The display of these grids is controlled within the section view style. We can see that by selecting one of the views, and if I right-click, I can come down and choose Edit Section View Style. And within this style, I'll choose the Display tab. Here we can see all of the components that we can display as part of this style. If I drag to the bottom, we'll find the grid components. Currently, I'm displaying the major horizontal and vertical grid lines. As an example, I'm going to turn one of these off and click Apply, and you can see the change on screen. Let's turn that back on. I'll click Apply and OK. I'll zoom out. Now, while this looks nice, I'd like to create a grid that spans the entire sheet. I can do that by editing the group plot style. A really quick way to get there is to select this boundary and then right-click. From here, I can choose Edit Group Plot Style. Remember that the group plot style, generally speaking, controls the arrangement of the section views. That being said, if I visit the Display tab, we will also find grid components here. Just like in the section view style, I'm going to turn on the major horizontal and vertical grid lines, and I'll click Apply. We can see the change on screen. If I was to visit the Plot Area tab, I can control the spacing of those grid lines here. Let's click OK, and this looks perfect. To practice good form, I would probably go back to the section view style. Let's edit this, and I would now hide the display of the redundant grid lines. I'll click OK. Likewise, I would probably save these styles to my template such that all future section views I create will use an overall grid by default. So the next time you're creating Civil 3D section views, remember that you have some options when it comes to applying the grids. They can be applied individually as part of the section view style, or globally as part of the group plot style. When you get a chance, I'd encourage you to explore some of the other settings within these styles to further refine and customize the appearance of your grids. Would you like to explore other Autodesk infrastructure ideas and workflows? If so, please visit the Civil Immersion blog by scanning the QR code or by following the URL listed below.